Sometimes women lie.
Years ago or 10 years ago, as you just said, there was a movement with Me Too where women were actually starting to be heard. And now we're just going back to regular status
No,
quo
no, no,
where
no,
women
that's
are
not true.
dismissed
No,
and
no.
treated as liars and martyrs.
No,
Story has to withstand scrutiny.
I was going to say, Ariel, just to be clear, they have been heard. They went into a criminal court.
I said believed. I said we are back
Can
to
you
a
not
point where
interrupt me?
women are...
They have been heard for 6 weeks and they weren't believed. So it's not a question of women not being heard. They've had their chance to try and prove their case, and so much evidence came out which contradicted what they had to say, including very powerful evidence from the Punisher, who I'm about to interview. But this idea that somehow this is about women being silenced, not being heard and so on, the complete opposite has happened. And what you're actually doing is you're saying this jury of 12 Americans didn't know what they were doing or had some weird desire not to listen to women. It seems to me they listened very carefully to the evidence and they've reached a conclusion they didn't believe these women. And you know what, Ariel? Sometimes women lie.
Who's saying that people lie? Women or men? Men
Yes.
lie, women lie,
Yes.
numbers don't. So we all know that.
So why are you saying it's a throwback to when women weren't believed?
Women are not being believed. So there were 8 men on a jury who, again, I'm saying to say they heard them, I don't think they did. So believe them definitely, because you can't believe somebody if you not truly are listening to them, because you'll
that's
never
an outrageous slur. You've got no evidence they didn't listen to them.
No man on this panel, all 3 of you, will never be in a position of any woman in any scenario where you can be taken advantage of, where you can be literally
What
abused
are you talking
and then
about?
not be heard
How many
and
women
be
have taken
believed
advantage
after
of
the
me?
fact. So I'm just saying there are 3 men who will, and 8 men on that jury who will never know what it's like. And instead of trying to understand the position that a woman could be in, and a woman like Cassie and a woman like the other Jane Does who testified in this matter, they completely disregarded it.
No,
So,
they didn't. They didn't disregard it. They didn't believe it. And what you're doing, you're basically saying no man can ever be on a jury fairly in a case like this. There's no evidence to suggest that whatsoever. The evidence was the evidence on the evidence that
I said no man.
Ariel, on the evidence that was presented. If I'd been on that jury, I'd have come to the same conclusion.
A man, I would assume a man would.
Actually,
so
most women I know who studied the evidence properly also reached that conclusion.